Hello, folks, and welcome to Under the Stairs, episode 5. I'm so glad you're here. We have quite a show for you tonight. Some very special, very great puppeteering just for you by the fabulous Emily Dykeman. Are you ready to check it out? I don't think you are. Let's do it.
Excellent. It's time for our episodic ride that we take here with the viewers over to the interview couch. Alright, viewers, are you ready? Here we go. Oh. Let's see. Take a seat on the interview couch. Por favor.
Very comfortable couch.
That was a terrific show, if I do say so myself.
Thank you. I'm glad so far so good. Hopefully it translated to film.
I think it may be a big hit.
I hope so.
Broadway next.
I feel like I have to take my hair down too. This is like the hippie palace.
Yeah. The hippie den welcomed. So, our guest here has, let's tell him a little bit about your selection there.
My selection from the vast array of records tonight was Eric Clapton's Slow Hand. For several reasons. I'm supposed to give reasons, right?
Yeah, let me know.
One, it's an album that I really like, and I've listened to many times, and it's very relaxing, so I thought it would get me in the conversational mood. And I've heard it many times before, so I won't be distracted trying to listen to all the nuances. And I don't know, it's just a good chill album.
Yeah, certainly.
For after a show.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? And yes, let's start with that.
All right. Well, my name is Emily Dykeman. I am a theater person and a puppeteer, and now a resin caster and mold maker.
Oh, excellent.
And a writer. I've been doing puppetry since back in the day at SUNY Orange, so probably like 7-8 years now.
Oh, terrific.
And I learned about creating my own pieces and learned about, back when I took puppetry originally, I learned about using objects as performers and creating something of beauty and then learning how to make it move and how that can be a very transformative experience.
That's very deep.
I think so.
That's cool. How did you come up with the concept for Mrs. Modesto?
I came up with the concept, yeah. The name just popped into my head. It was going to be Mrs. or Madame Larkin, and then for some reason Modesto popped into my head, and I was like, I'm just going to go with that because it's nice alliteration. So it doesn't really mean anything beyond that. The idea for doing something about chakras came because I've been experimenting with different kinds of meditation and stuff, and I had recently done a chakra meditation, and I'm still learning about all of that, but I think it's a really interesting way to like visualize the self as like different points in your body that correspond to different psychological things, even if it's not literally true. So when I had to come up with an idea for tonight, I just decided to relate it to something that had been on my mind anyway, because I find often that makes the best art. So do you want me to go into it? The whole thing more? I don't want to jump the gun.
Anything particularly enlightening that you've come across in your meditations?
Well, as far as meditation in general goes, I have really learned a lot about being in the moment, being present in this exact moment, and that's something that a lot of people, I think, in the world miss, because you're always stressing about the past or the future. Most people are always stressing about the past or the future.
Very true.
And I think meditation translates into performance, because if you're not right in the moment, your performance is probably going to be shitty.
Yeah.
So you have to, if you make a mistake or if you think the audience may not have reacted the way you wanted to something, the moment before, you just have to let it go and be in the moment and making the moment believable where you're at. So I think meditation and performance.
Some terrific advice. That's a good enlightenment.
Thank you.
So what kind of drew you to puppetry? What do you love so much about it? I know you talked about being able to take objects and create them into, beautiful works of art. What initially brought you to puppetry in the first place?
Well, actually, I've always enjoyed, when I first started doing puppetry and creating my own works, I had always enjoyed certain aspects of creativity, writing as one thing, making things, crafts, little gifts for people as another thing, being on stage as another thing, but this puppetry brings all of my interests together, and it exercises parts of the mind that before then I didn't really know I was good in or could be good in. Like it requires it can require mechanics, use of mechanisms, motors even. It requires you to stretch your mind and to think about kinesthetics and how things move. So it kind of has reached into different parts of the brain for me that I hadn't necessarily previously unlocked.
Cool. How do you feel about Jim Henson?
I think Jim Henson was a great person and amazingly talented artist and a pioneer, and had a lot of influence. His style is not necessarily like what I would want to emulate for myself, but I think in what he did, he was a genius, and he did great things and reached a lot of people.
Cool. Yeah, I like Jim Henson.
Yeah, I mean,
too.
it's kind of hard not to.
Got any projects coming up?
I do have. Can I talk about my theater company?
Of course.
Can I
yes.
plug? Can I shamelessly plug?
Please,
I am
please
also
do.
a co-founder with a friend and colleague of Dykeman Donovan Theater Labs, based out of Newburgh, and we do different experimental pieces. They can involve puppetry and various like our show that we're currently working on, maybe touring, is called Requiem. And it is a 45-ish minute show using the text of a Russian poem, translated to English, obviously, by a woman named Anna Akhmatova, who survived through Stalin's reign of terror in the 19th century and 20th century, and she wrote a kind of an epic poem with all these different stanzas that encompass different years of her life and all the torture she went through, losing her family, and we created a sort of semi-abstract-y piece around it that not only refers to that, but also kind of goes into just human suffering in general. And during that time, free speech was repressed. People sharing ideas like this we'd never be able to do because you could be arrested for undermining the government, whether you actually were or not. So it goes into some things about free speech. It goes into things about family and death and loss and living in fear. So anyway. We've workshopped that show once, and now we're trying to get it in a few other spaces. So that's something to, if you're interested in that kind of thing, it's something to follow. And we're working on getting a large. That's just a one-person, or two-person, one tech person, one actor show. So we're working on creating a larger ensemble to do more works, more literary interpretation. And
hear that, guys? If you want to be in a play and you're good, she may have a piece for you.
Even if you're not good, we'll make you good. 'Cause we, at this point, we'll take anyone.
What are your goals for the future? What would you like to do with your, acting and poetry, puppetry? Sorry, poetry as well.
I mean, yeah, I do write. I would like to be manager, co-manager, artistic director of my own theater company. If me and myself and Laura continue in this, maybe one day we'll have an established company, and I would love to be able to travel with it. I want to see the world. I want to see what other people are doing artistically. So I definitely want to live a transient lifestyle of performance and of
a gypsy, if you will.
Yes, a modern gypsy, and I would like to go more places with my writing. It's something I have a hard time sharing with people, but I feel that may be the next step in getting myself out there.
Maybe we will have you back for spoken word.
That would be great.
Spoken word. We could play some beats for you on the drums or something.
That sounds fun. And I would love to this is the first puppet piece I've built in a while, actually. So I was a little rusty, but I would love to start taking things to puppet slams in the city and stuff like that.
Cool.
I think that would also be a very stretching experience.
Tell me about a puppet slam. How does that work? This is the first I've heard of a puppet slam.
Did you never see any of the puppet slams at SUNY Orange?
No, I don't think so.
Basically, it can run the spectrum, but the idea is a bunch of people, kind of like a poetry slam, I guess. A bunch of people create their own original works, usually short. I'm going to say like 5 minutes, but I'm just pulling that number out. And that usually the sense is that you can kind of be as inappropriate or not as you want. It's kind of puppetry is a great art form in that it's often used to be very vulgar, and I think it's, not that you always have to be base, but I think it's important that life is vulgar, and I think it's important that we're able to express that when it at the right time.
Vulgarity is hilarious.
Exactly. So the idea is kind of like a stew of different pieces, and it's kind of improv. Like this would definitely be a slam piece, I think, because it's kind of like homemade and a little bit improv, and using basic items that you could easily transport. You know, you're not going to bring Avenue Q to a puppet slam, you know?
Yeah, fair. Yes, no.
So yeah, it's kind of like the rugged art, sort of like what you could have a puppet slam in this space. Just saying. Ooh, ideas.
Maybe we'll have like a incredibly competitive puppet
Of course.
slam. Maybe there'll be a wrestling bit, so it'll be like a puppet slam.
I think that would be totally appropriate.
All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
Anything else I would like to share? Well, thank you for watching, because I think things like this are extremely important, and I think that what Kyle's trying to do and what, you know, I'm trying to do with my company and what other people are doing without necessarily all these resources at their disposal is the most, to me, it's kind of the highest kind of art, and it's the most important kind of, or I don't want to say the highest, because that's kind of an obnoxious statement, but it's a very important form of art. So if you can find ways to participate in this kind of thing, if you've been asked to participate in this and haven't, I think you should, because it was actually really good for me. And I got outside of myself a little bit. So, I don't know. Thank you for supporting, if you're watching.
Yeah. We love you guys. We love the viewers. We love, you know, the artists and the art community. And we're all going to get together in the long run. We're all going to make a whole bunch of really beautiful, amazing art. And we want you guys to be part of it.
You will achieve immortality and fame forever.
Yeah. Can't argue with that.
Or die in obscurity.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you keep watching. I hope you watched. And I hope you watch forever. And ever. And ever. Good night.